Hey guys, today we're going to look at one of my favorite digital audio workspaces, or DAWs, Acid Pro. So this is going to be a basic introduction, and then we're going to get to building on the concepts that we have, and we're going to learn how to make beats. We're going to learn how to do a lot of different things in this application. If you have any interest in music, this is a great way to get into it. First, we're going to go over a little bit of history. The original version of Acid came out in 1998, and it was owned by Sony. Now, when Sony owned the application, they were really into pushing it forward, developing it, doing a lot of stuff with it. They actually sold loop CDs that you could buy, and I actually bought most of them that they came out with in the entire time that I've been using this product, which was probably about 2099 era. So I got into it about version 1. Stuck on version 3 for a really long time. Jumped up to 7. And in 2016, Magix acquired the product from Sony. And they kept it at version 7, which was good for some people and bad for others. It wasn't a horrible product coming out of it, but it had really reached a point where it was showing its age. It was 32-bit, didn't have a lot of space to be able to do things. You couldn't make an application, or you couldn't make a song that was very long with a lot of samples without running really low on memory because of being 32-bit. Magix took it forward, version 8 and version 9, and then this version, which is Acid Pro Next, and that brought it into the 64-bit era and where we see it today. Now, what we're going to look at here is one of the songs that I did a while ago. I don't remember which one this is, because I've got it listed as Untitled. I think it was Toxic Memory, which is the one that I did. So you can see that on my channel if you want. This is not a very complex song, but it has a lot of elements in it that illustrate a lot of things you can do in this application. In here we have volume changes. So I've got samples of things that I've put in, and then I've got the volume peaking up and going back down, and then averaging back out to normal, and then changing. The orange lines are panning, so I pan from this side to this side. This is a really great track to listen to with headphones on. And it just kind of plays out like this, and there's a lot of long stretches in this because I just wanted a really mellow song that did a lot of things, and there's a ripple effect in here, some things that I did, and it wasn't difficult to do. This song was kind of a little project that I wanted to do for a tonality and not really for complexity. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new project. So we've got the basic things that you can put in. You want to title your project. So we're going to title this Tutorial 1. Artist, we're going to put our name in. And we're just going to copy that and paste it. Comments for the purposes of a YouTube tutorial video. And you can put a UPC number in there if you're doing it, and you can change all the different things about your audio. If you want it done in stereo, the number of buses you want to use, your sample rate, and you have options of all the way up to 192K, which is where we want to be. Bit depth you could set higher if you want. 16 I think is the default, and these all have bearing on size of the what you're going to start and whatnot. And you can also set the defaults for all new applications to be opened up in this way by checking this box here. So we're going to do that. So we've got a new track, and in this basic tutorial we're going to go over some of the windows and some of the things that to get you familiar with it. So it can be a very intimidating program, and it's a very expensive program. So when you buy it and when you upgrade, it's $150 or more to upgrade this application in some cases. And in that sense, you want to get into it, you want to do stuff with it. But you get in here and it just doesn't make any sense because there's really no tutorial and there's nothing to really tell you what to do. It just gives you some default song that's overly done and not great, and it doesn't really tell you what the program's going to do for you. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it at a pace, and I'm going to make some of these videos, probably one a week. I'm going to dedicate a day to doing this, and we're going to go over some of the windows, and then we're going to make it more and more complex. So it does help and bears witness to watching the older videos as you go through this, but as you progress through, you'll learn the different things that are going on, and you'll learn what we're doing. And I don't profess to be a master at this application, but I've been using it for a very long time, and by me teaching you helps me get better with it and gives me inspiration to do more things. So that's why we're doing this. So we're going to start out just very simple, very short, and we're going to go over this. This actually tells you the time at the particular cursor point, which is very important if you're working on a product that goes to a certain time frame. So if we set our cursor point here, we're at 38 seconds. If you need something to go out to a certain time frame, you can flag it out here at whatever time frame you want, and you can actually expand that and make it go further. But let's say we need to make a project that's 1 minute and 14 seconds long. We're going to drop this here, and then we're going to stretch this out to here, and this is our area of focus right here. So we've got 1 minute and 14 seconds that we've got to fill, and 1 minute and 14 seconds is not terribly hard to fill. So we're going to make a very simple track in 1 minute and 14 seconds. And it's not going to be anything that is going to be production quality. It's not going to be anything overly complex. We're not going to do panning. We're not going to do volume changes. We're not going to do tonality. We're not going to do reversals, and we're only going to use loops. I'm not going to use any of my synthesizers on this. We're just going to do something really simple and easy, even though I do have loops of synthesized tracks that I made in my library. We're just going to use really simple tech house stuff. So looking at your typical loop pack, you've got usually a bit rate, beats per minute, and this one's set to 120, which is the default that you can set this to. If you needed to make it faster or slower, let me minimize this one, and then we can maybe see something that's a little faster. It's 121. Anyway, I really like the stuff from 5-Pin Media. They're an awesome place. But if you go to a point where you need to change this lower or higher, you can double click on it. You can put in anything you want all the way down to the lowest humanly tolerable beats per minute, which I think is probably 30. I don't know. I watched a video on that a long time ago, and it was really annoying, and I couldn't watch it because apparently this tempo drives people crazy. Or you can increase it to as high as you want. And I actually made a song where I increased the beats per minute as the song progressed. So you can actually tag in the track that you want to increase the beats per minute at certain time frames. So like I can change the beats per minute here, from here to here to 120, and then if I need to increase it for whatever reason, I can go from here to here at 140 back to 120. Very rare instance you would ever have to do that, but it does happen. In certain cases, it is a certain point of expression to be able to increase that. I started at 70. I worked my way up to 196 or 200, I think, which for the time I was doing it was really, really fast. Now that's not even close to what some of the stuff works at. But 120 beats per minute is a pretty fair value. So we're going to take one of these construction kits that 5-Pin put out, and we're going to look at just the loops. And we're going to find a drum loop that we like. And in Acid, if you click on a loop, it will play the loop for you so you can hear it. As we click on the drum loop, this is a complete drum track. Same thing with a tail on it. So it kicks around. Hi-hat loop. Okay, so we found a loop we like. We like this hi-hat loop. So we're going to take the loop and we're going to drag it up here. And now this loop is our primary focus, and here's our loop. Say we want 2 bars or 2 values of this particular loop in our song. So we can drag it out. So now we're going to do 2 cycles of this. And then we want to switch back to the default one because we've got this one, which would make a great intro or a fill. And then maybe we want to switch to this one. And we want 2 of this one. Now what I've done here is I built kind of an intro beat in the basic form, and then it's going to progress into another one. So this would be our track progression. So it would start here, play this, move to this. We kind of work with something like this. I play 1 cycle of it. Don't necessarily like how that sounds by itself, but we're not really designing a track. Now, let's progress down here to the controls. This is record. If I press this, it's going to record from whatever source I tell it to. We're not going to fool with that today. We're going to do this a little bit later, but we are going to be adding recording into our workstation and get into our workspace and get that set up later. This loop playback tells it to play the parameters between this bar right here and this bar right here as defined by how far we've dragged out this loop region. This plays from the start. This plays from wherever your cursor is. So if I play it here, it's going to start playing from right here. Whereas if I play this one, it starts in the beginning. Pause. If you want to pause it, sometimes you want to pause it, add a couple more things in there. Stop, go to start, go to end. This is the Midi stop recording. So if you're recording through Midi, this will stop that sequence. This will merge recordings, and these end options we're going to go over later. They are something that we're gonna do much later. Now you can add a metronome, and it will play out a metronome for us. And you can set your metronome controls here to where it'll count off. You can only do it during playback. You can do recording. It'll be always on 1 or 2 or 4 counts, or you just go straight in and do full configuration. I don't usually use the metronome, which is pretty obvious if you listen to any of the music that I've done. It does not follow conventional music theory in a lot of ways. In a lot of tracks that I do, I try to break music theory. So we've got 2 really simple loops, and I don't know that we're going to use these in our demonstration here, but this was a demonstration to show you how to add things to your workspace. Now you can continue to add things down and actually scroll down the page, and there'll be many loops that you'll add. But you can even have a complete percussion loop. And the good part about it playing them as you select them is that if we start this at the beginning, now we can hear how that loop fits in with the loop we've selected. And then as we transition to the second one, there you go. And you can hear it playing along with it. And now I've deselected it, so it's not going to play anymore. So just for simplicity's sake, we'll throw this in here. And then we'll throw this in here. And I'm not trying to make this too complicated for you. Now we've got a top loop and a bottom, like a mid loop going. So that's kind of what we're going. Probably need to add a kick in there. Good solid kick. And we can just push this out through the whole thing. Take some volume up. Let me adjust my volume so you can hear this a little bit better. There you go. And see how the offbeats come on? There you go. All right, so what we're going to do, oh, we lost our minute 14. 14. Okay, there's a minute 14. So set it there, go back to the beginning, stop it. Now, just for the heck of it, and for the sake of this particular thing, let's just draw this out here. There. And then we'll continue the kick drum out all the way. And you can see the bars come through. This is a 4-bar drum beat. So continuing that continues 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars. And all the way out to our minute 14, which is why I selected it, because it's going to end it on the end of the cycle. If we were doing something with a tail or with some sort of continuation or something that had an out, so you had an ending and out that you wanted to put in here, like some kind of roll off or something like that for your drum, you would be able to fit this in here because you would just drop this one and then you would put that as your next one. But we're not going to do that because this isn't an actual song. So we're just gonna fill these, and these aren't coming out quite like I hoped. So there's 2. And that one kind of runs along. So we'll do that one. So it'll give it a little variety. It's not much, but it's a little variety. So now we've got a drum beat, with some offset, and now we need to add in some a little more complicated to go with it. And this is what I'm talking about an out or an exit, where you've got something that trails off or dies out or ends your song or whatnot. Alright, so let's see if we can get a good bass line. Not too pleased with that one. It doesn't really give me much. So let's open up another toolkit. Let's see what we can get for a bass line in this one. And since they're all 120, they're all going to come through about the same. That's kind of fitting. Hear that from the beginning. Okay, let's put this up here. And we'll drop this one up here. This one's hard to hear, but we'll just run that out the band. Okay. For the purposes of the demonstration. So, all right. So what we've done is we've borrowed loops from 2 or 3 different construction kits of loops from same manufacturer. So we've got this drum loop that we were using, which is that one. So now I've selected that, and I'm going to actually click off of it so that you can't hear it, but I want you to see it. So down here in the bottom, we've got what it is. It's audio. It's a loop. It's 16 beats at 120 beats per minute with the root note none because it's drum. 44 kilohertz. 24-bit stereo uncompressed. So when we go looking for something to complement that, like this percussion loop, and this one's going to be the same because same statistics. 16 beats, 120 beats per minute with no root note. And now we went down to here to get our music loop, and we picked up the two bass lines. So let's grab that bass line. All right, so we've got 16 beats at 119 beats per minute, so it's slightly slower than our drum beat, but you're really not going to notice a difference. If you did notice a difference, what you can do is you can actually take your mouse wheel and you can roll this out to where you're looking way down inside where the beats hit. And you can actually move that bass line even that far, and you're just offsetting it that much. I've used this technique in some of my stuff to create an echo where I'll take the same track twice. So we've got this bass line too. So what I would do is I would put this here, and you can see it's green, telling us that it's a different representation of that one. And I'll take this way, way down. And you can see how far down in the beat we are. And I would offset it a couple like that. So it's trailing the original one. Now that bass line 2 is really kind of hard to hear. So this isn't a good illustration of it. But what we can do is we can play. We'll scroll back up and see if you're looking at the track, you can't even tell that this is offset when at the normal place you're looking at it. So what we can do is we can actually, I think we can solo 2 tracks. Hold on. I don't think that was the same bass line. Okay, that did not illustrate my point. No, and they're not the same. It's great. Hey, perfect example to show you what to do now. I don't want this one in here anymore. So I right click on it and I select delete. And it did not delete the file, it just deleted it from the track. Where is this one? NMD. (116) or 119 baseline loop 1. Oh, it's the first one. Okay. So this might make a little more sense. Sorry about that, didn't mean to confuse you. So we're going to set it one little bit off there. You can kind of see it a little bit more drastically here. So we're going to solo these 2 tracks. And I know solo is more a one-off, and that's what you would use it for. But if you wanted to show the comparison between 2 tracks together, you can mute everything else, or you can just tell it to solo these 2. So here's what we're going to end up with here. This one should play just slightly behind this one. And this is going to require some fine-tuning to get it right where you want it. So we're going to start right there. So it starts right where we need to be. And I'm going to leave this one off the first time so you can hear the bass beat. Okay. And now we'll turn it on. You can see how it kind of fattens up the sound and draws out a little bit more. Well, actually you can't because it was talking over it, but it'll bring a little bit more to the sound, and it'll kind of give it more volume, and you can pan with this so that it crosses or any number of things you want to do. But it gives you a lot of ability to do a little bit more difference, and if you take it even more, it's going to be more drastic. So I'll let you hear this one. It's a little too much. Hold on, let me pull it back. And like I said, a lot of this is sometimes just playing with it and finding the perfect place to put it. It's kind of cool, but it's not quite what I wanted to illustrate. So we're going to go even deeper. This is like bassception here. All right, so here we go. Try this. It adds almost a fake chorus to it where it blows out that last full bass beat. I did this with lyrics sometimes to cause like a back echo effect, and then I'll mutate this track with effects to put it in a different tone or make it have a lot of hiss to it, or any number of things that I want to do with it. But adding that slight delay makes it act like an echo, which can actually work really well. I did a remix of a Kidney Thieves song, and I used this, and it came out pretty perfect. So now we got this, and I don't want this in here anymore because this is not making me happy. So we're going to take that out. We're going to unsolo the track so we play everything again, and we're going to scroll back up to a sane time frame where we can see everything. And now we've got this really simple drum beat and bass. Not perfect, definitely not a kit I would have worked out of in the first place, but let's pull a top from 5 Pins Melodic Techno. So I want to look at some of these, and they're at 124, so it's going to down to 120, which is okay. So let's see how this sounds with it. And we don't have to actually add it, which can sometimes be problematic if you've got a lot of tracks up here, because there were some tracks that I did with 124 different samples, recordings, and things that I had in sections, and I probably could have optimized it better. But I needed that 125th thing in there, and I didn't want to keep adding it and deleting it because there's a real chance I could crash my whole stack, and I don't want to do that. So, like I said before, I want to hear what they sound like with it. So I'm going to shorten my loop region to just this first section. So it's just going to play this over and over again. I like that better. Let's try the dry one. Yeah. That's it. Fits really well, I think. Alright, so now we need to figure out what we're going to do with the second part. Do we want to continue this? Play it. I don't like that. Kind of like what that's doing, but I kind of have to cut it up too much. To a fat square, so it's gonna kind of fall off weird. It kind of fits. Let's put it in there. Let's see how it falls in. Okay, and then we can go back to that. We can end on that. I wouldn't go with these harsh transitions in an actual song. Nah, I take that back. I probably will. Alright. So we got that. Now, I'm going to go down to some leads. This volume control is for your one you're listening to. If you hover over them, it'll tell you. That there. Maybe we can get away with this one here. Cut it back. Alright. And then since we want to hide some of our mistakes, might want to throw a pad on there. I need to hear these pads individually. So we've got a lot of harsh transitions. We've got a lot of noise and a lot of things that are very disjointed. What we need to do is we need to put a layer underneath of it that kind of covers those transitions so that they're not as brash and apparent, because that's not what we're going after this time. I'd like that maybe quieter. Let's try this one. So now we've got tracks in our workspace. We've got a basic framework and structure. We've got a bottom end, a mid, a top, and we've got an underlayer that actually just draws through everything. Now again, this is not a good song. This is not something I would consider putting out. It has potential maybe, but it is not something that I would develop as a track in itself. It would require a lot of work to make this work because of these slams and pitch change and whatnot. So it would work better in this instance to eliminate the every other track and then keep them consistent all the way through, and then actually put your own stuff in on top of it if you had the capability to do that. If you do not, though, you do have the ability to use loops like I'm doing right now to put together anything you want to put together. And you have the ability to do all of these in a lot of different ways. So I'm not going to cover any of the effects today. I'm not going to cover any of the editing of the sounds today. We're going to do that a little bit later. I didn't want to give you too much information, but just to verify what we've got here, we have a 1 minute and 14 second, or 1 minute and 12 second, or a little bit slow, track that we put together in 35 minutes, throw in some loops together. It's 120 beats per minute, 4/4 time, in the key of A, which may change, but I'm not really going to worry about the key change because it really doesn't matter in this particular instance because we don't have any hard coded anything really running that's going to impact it being not in the key of A. We've gone over the controls and we've gone over how to add loops to your workspace. So the next thing we're probably going to cover is we're going to cover smoothing out some of these rough edges now that we've got this song. So I'm going to save this track and we're going to continue to work with it because even though it's not your ideal top 40, top 10, top 1 song, it does have potential and it does have all the elements we need. So this is going to be our demo working track. And the next time I come back, I'm going to show you how to add some finesse to this and make even this bad piece of work have potential and complexity that'll allow it to be more than it could be other than just 2 drum beats, hi-hat, synth, and a pad. Basically, that's all you need, but we're going to make it look a little better. We're going to make it sound a little better. We're not going to change anything in the actual track. This is what we're going to work with. And based on this fact, we're going to add panning, we're going to add volume changes, we're going to add fades, we're going to add all kinds of effects to it. We're going to do all kinds of things with it. So I'm going to save this and then we're going to bring up this demo the next time. And I'm trying to pick a day that would work really well for this, but I don't have a day that I could really commit to it yet. So let's just show, I'll put these out once a week and we'll see where we can go with it. I do welcome any comments or questions you have. If you're struggling with using Acid, I definitely would love to help you work with it a little bit better. I personally, like I said, by teaching you, it's going to help me be a better person, or not a better person, but a better producer in my own music. And that's always something that I strive for, even though most people would probably disagree. We are going to go over all the rest of these more complex menu things, and this is going to pick up at a rather fast pace. So like I said, if things get out of the way and you don't understand what's going on, ask the question. I can make another episode to cover what you particularly didn't understand, or where you got lost, or where you're having trouble. I do not have a problem with that whatsoever, but I do want to make sure I'm thorough and start from the very beginning with something very basic so that the people who are just getting started or very interested in this product know what to do. This version of Acid Pro, the next version, is very new to me, so I am still learning some of the ins and outs of the differences between 8 and Next, because I did not go to 9, which would have put me closer to what this is. So there are a lot of features that I'm not as familiar with. What we may do is we may, in some episode, contrast the differences between 7.8 and this, because I do still have all 3 loaded on my computer, or various computers. Let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I'd certainly be interested in figuring out what had changed since 8, because I'm learning this on the fly. And the help files are not very detailed either, so that's why you kind of got to turn to some of these. So we'll continue on with more complexity. We'll add some more stuff to it. We'll take a look at different features and facets of Acid that can help you develop tracks in the simplest way. And at some point, we'll add in some of my synthesizers, and I'll show you how to do recording. So thank you for watching. I'll continue this if there's interest in it. But one of my friends told me I should do this, and I definitely I don't mind doing it. Putting these things down definitely helps me out as well. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. And I will catch you guys next time. I'll do one of these a week, and I still put out one music track every Friday. So that'll be something. I got to do something for Halloween. So I'm going to have to do something with that. But if you're watching this in February, this probably doesn't make any sense to you. Anyway, see you guys later.